what were your experiences as a child growing up with PDA? And I understand you had a late diagnosis, is that right? So what was that like, navigating school, healthcare, friendships?
Um, Confusing is the first word that comes to mind. And really, really not understanding why I was getting it so wrong and why I was my own worst enemy. And why even I've given this example quite a lot, but not for a while. There was an incident when I was walking to the dinner table and my mum called out, "Come on, dinner's ready." And I just froze on the spot. And and I remember standing there thinking, "You were hungry, you were going anyway. Why have you stopped? And what do you need?" And I remember sitting there thinking, "What do you need them to really ask you some more? Is it that you want them to really encourage you to come?" And then they did, and then that made me even more furious. Um, and then and that confusion, and then eventually getting to the table and someone going, "See, well done." And that was it. The whole table went and tipped everything because and in hindsight, for years I've trying to figure out what is the feeling that I would get when I felt like people thought I'd done something because they told me to. And the word that encapsulates it most is demeaned.
Right.
I would feel absolutely demeaned and humiliated that I had carried out someone's instruction. I felt like I was a nobody now, that they owned me, that somehow they'd taken all my worth and value if I did something because they asked me to.
So how have you, as an adult, navigated that really intense feeling of being demeaned, as you've articulately
Yeah,
described, in a society which is still largely demand-led? We all have obscene amounts of demand
yeah.
placed on us every day.
Um, there's a lot of rationalization and internal dialogue with myself and sometimes I have to externalize it. So I tell you what was really interesting. The first time my children pointed something out. So my ex wasn't a very nice human and he was controlling, but I couldn't tell the difference of him being controlling and me feeling controlled. And then when it was my children, who literally probably are the only humans on earth that have no reason to lie to me about these things or pretend it's otherwise, once he asked me to do something and they saw my hackles rise, they saw me think, "How dare you?" And they went, "He's not trying to control you. That's reasonable." And it was the first light bulb moment that sometimes I feel controlled, but I'm not being controlled. And and one of the most anxiety inducing things is I don't always know, which makes us both either vulnerable to constantly feeling controlled and blaming others and stepping away from every relationship we have, or vulnerable to gaslighting ourselves and going, "No, no, no, it's you, it's you. What they're asking is reasonable," because we don't know where the line is. And that's why it just becomes so important to be around people you trust. And realistically, the way I've coped with it as an adult is shrink my world. And there are people that probably don't, on paper, don't look like that they deserve to be cut from my life. But the minute I can't trust, it's just too stressful a situation and I can't tolerate it anymore. I need to know that the other person, even if they end up saying something bad or doing something bad, they have the best intentions for me. It's all about their intention. And the minute I start questioning that, they're not a safe person for me to be around. Um, and I've, yeah, and I have shrunk my world to people that I know that have my back,
Mm.
so that when I am having that dialogue, I I can trust that it's me usually, and I need to step back, take a breath, have a word with myself. Yeah, so that's generally how I cope with it.
I'm so grateful for all the stuff that I've learned about what it feels like to be PDA from working with you and forming a friendship with you. What is the thing that you would most like people who don't have an understanding of PDA to understand about PDA?
I think, and there's already so much rhetoric about the think it's not that they won't, it's that they can't, and all of that. I think for me currently, and this would probably change if you ask me in 2 months, but currently my biggest sort of bugbear is people not understanding the difference between interest-led demand avoidance and actual PDA, a demand avoidance that sabotages even what you like. So there's a demand avoidance that comes from I like to be on my own agenda. I don't want to transfer what I'm doing. I'm focused on my hyper interest and I don't want to do something different. But if motivated enough by the alternative, I can carry it out. The thing with PDA is there is no level of motivation that will allow, if my PDA gets hold, there is nothing that can motivate me to do the thing. I mean, I remember that when Crystal Mays first came to the UK, a friend of ours got free tickets that were worth thousands. And we were able to go in as the pilot and really excited, really want to do it. And I just remember my hands on the door and I'm trying to open it and you just can't. And it's understanding that there is nothing more motivating than me desperately wanting to do this with people I really liked, with people I knew I was letting down by not going, knowing that number one, it's an opportunity I'm never going to get again. Number two, someone's worked really hard to get this opportunity. Um, and and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't walk out that door. And I didn't go. And for no other reason than for some reason, I was just blocked. And the thing with PDA is with the self-imposed demands and expectations, people think it's just about declarative language or a demand or expectation. Number one, there's loads of silent expectations about being alive and being a woman and everything that you're constantly fighting. It's even when I've put something in a diet, it's anything that says the next 30 seconds of your life, you have no choice over what you do over them with them. And so even if I've put it in the diary and I desperately want to do it, it's robbing me of my autonomy for the next 30 seconds. I might be going on a tangent here, but another thing that's been milling about since my diagnosis, since being ill with breast cancer and not going back onto Facebook, I've been really thinking about the young people who don't go to school for years and somehow, and I'm thinking I really want to get back on Facebook and engage with people. And then I realize number one, I'm terrified if they think I'm back, the expectation that I can do it a lot and every day. And I feel like I have to justify, I literally have 8 hours of energy over the week that I have to choose very, very carefully where I spend it with my treatments. And the guilt and the shame of almost letting people, I don't know, but it's kind of, I really want to get back on there. And I think, what if they think I can do it every day?
Yeah.
And what if they think if I can talk here, they can now text me and I know I can't cope with it. And then I end up not doing it. And the other one is, what if they don't even remember me? What if I'm invisible now? What if they're not interested anymore? What if they're angry with me? And it's been really playing on my mind over the last couple of weeks about our young people who really want to get back into the world and society and school and how I'm an adult and I understand it and I know it all. And I still haven't been able to get up and personally, directly post on Facebook because I'm terrified. I'm terrified it's going to take over my life. And the other thing that I realized with when I was unwell, and as soon as I started feeling better, knowing that I had this mission and this vision and what I believed I wanted to achieve in the world, and I'm unwell and I'm tired, but I'm battling myself. So for me, PDA is about we don't see the world how it is, we see how it could be, and we're always kind of pushed to change things. And we talk about that like it's a superpower, but actually it's a superpower that's made for the world, not for the person. It destroys the person because this constant drive to fight everything that exists as the status quo. Internally going, it could be better, it could be different. I might be doing this for the next 30 seconds of my life. There's an opportunity cost to that. That means I'm not doing that and I'm not doing that. And that constant drive to use our time to the best of our abilities, ironically paralyzes us and blocks us. So there's a lot that I'd like the world to know.
The last question I have, which I hadn't got written down, but you talked about how it can be, and I'm paraphrasing here, but transformative in terms of you looking at a world and thinking it could be better in this way. That sounds to me like a really valuable lens through which to see the world.
Yes, but it's exhausting.
Right.
It's the world as it is feels like if I just accepted that, what's the point of being alive? I don't understand unless we're impacting change. And I think I'm blurring the lines a little bit with kind of the ADHD side as well, and there's a huge overlap, I think, with ADHD and PDA in particular. But it is a good thing. I don't believe any progress or change has ever happened in the world with anybody that hasn't got some sort of ND. And I think PDA is the extreme of that, of authenticity over belonging every single time.
Yeah.
And it's that authenticity and that drive to make things as pure and transparent and honest and just and fair as possible. These are all admirable, but they help the world, not the person. It's tiring and it's frustrating because I know I've learned to live with my discontentment. I've learned that I am perpetually disappointed. I'm perpetually discontent. And that's the flip side of constantly seeing a world that can be better.
Thank you very much for answering those questions.
You're very welcome.